Family dynamics had shifted since our parents' marriage last year. I was still getting used to having my stepbrother Noah in my life. He was 2 years older than me, confident and charming, with a natural ease that I both envied and admired, but we hadn't spent much time together yet. I thought about the awkward family dinners, the polite small talk, and the rare moments we crossed paths at home. Today, however, felt different. Noah had just gotten home from work, and I could hear him rummaging through the fridge in the kitchen. The sound of glass jars clinking and the fridge door opening and closing echoed through the house. As I listened to him moving about, a wave of curiosity washed over me. What was he up to? I stood up, my bare feet sinking into the soft carpet as I made my way to the kitchen. When I stepped in, I found him leaning casually against the counter, a towel draped over his shoulder. He looked relaxed in his worn t-shirt and shorts, his hair slightly disheveled probably from running his hands through it, and a small, easy smile played on his lips. "What are you up to?" I asked, leaning against the doorway, feeling a flutter of excitement in my chest that I couldn't quite place. "Just trying to figure out what to eat," Noah replied, glancing over his shoulder at me with a grin that made my stomach do a little flip. "Want to help?" "Sure, I could use a distraction," I said, stepping inside. As we started rummaging through the fridge together, I felt a familiar warmth beginning to form between us. He handed me a jar of salsa, our fingers brushing for just a second. That small touch sent a jolt of something through me, something that made me want to stay close to him. After a few minutes of playful banter, we decided to make tacos. Noah took charge, guiding me through the process and showing off his cooking skills with a confidence that made me smile. I watched him move around the kitchen, the way he chopped vegetables effortlessly, and how his eyes lit up when he talked about the recipe. I realized how much I enjoyed being around him, how I found myself wanting to be closer. "All right, I need your expert opinion," Noah said, holding up 2 different types of salsa. "Which one do you think is better?" I smiled, moving a little closer to him, our shoulders brushing. "Definitely the spicy one, it'll add some kick." Noah chuckled, and our eyes met for a moment longer than necessary. There was something in the air, a tension that neither of us could quite define. His gaze lingered on mine, and I felt my breath catch, the world narrowing to just the 2 of us standing in that small kitchen. When we finished cooking and sat down at the table with our tacos, we laughed over stories from our childhoods. The atmosphere was easy, filled with teasing and shared memories. But beneath the surface, something deeper brewed, an unspoken connection that neither of us wanted to acknowledge out loud. After dinner, we decided to watch a movie in the living room. I curled up on the couch, hugging my knees to my chest, and Noah joined me. His presence was warm beside me, our legs just barely touching. I could feel the heat radiating from him, and my heart raced at the proximity, each tiny shift he made causing my skin to tingle. "Are you okay?" Noah asked, glancing over as he noticed me fidgeting. "Yeah, it's been a while since we've hung out like this," I replied, my cheeks flushing slightly as I avoided his gaze, my eyes fixed on the television. "True, but I'm glad we are. I like getting to know you better," he said softly, his voice almost a whisper. His gaze lingered on me for a moment, and there was something sincere in his eyes that made my heart flutter. As the movie played, I found myself lost in thoughts about Noah, the way he laughed, the way he looked at me, the way he seemed so comfortable in his own skin. It all sent butterflies fluttering in my stomach. I couldn't help but notice the little things. The curve of his smile, the way his eyes crinkled at the corners when he found something funny. Unconsciously, I shifted closer, my leg pressing against his. The contact sent a shiver through me. "Do you mind?" I asked, trying to play it cool but unable to hide my nervousness. "Not at all," he replied, a hint of a smile on his lips as he leaned into me. I could feel his warmth seeping into my skin, grounding me in a way I hadn't expected. As the night wore on, the tension between us grew. It was palpable, electric. I could sense his gaze on me, his presence filling the space with something more than just friendship. Every touch, every glance seemed to hold a deeper meaning, something neither of us dared to name. In a moment of courage, I turned to Noah, my heart pounding in my chest, my palms suddenly clammy. "Can I tell you something?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "Of course," he said, his expression open and inviting, his eyes searching mine. "I've been thinking about us, about this dynamic," I started, my voice slightly shaky. "It's weird being step-siblings, but I feel like there's something more between us." My heart raced as I spoke, my stomach churning with nerves. Noah's eyes widened slightly, and I held my breath, waiting for his response. The silence stretched between us, the tension almost unbearable. "I felt it too," he admitted, a small smile breaking through as his eyes softened. "I just didn't know how to say it. This is all new for me too, but I can't ignore it." My heart raced as I processed his words, a rush of relief and excitement washing over me. "So, what do we do?" I asked, my voice barely audible, my eyes locked on his. "I don't know," Noah replied, his voice low, almost a whisper. "But I want to explore this, if you're open to it." There was something vulnerable in his expression, something that made my chest tighten.